Welcome to assignment on the BBC World Service. You don't often hear laughter amid the devastation of Mosul, the Iraqi city that was controlled for 3 years by the Islamic State group, except when you're with one extraordinary, larger-than-life woman. Oh, that's fantastic. So 6 girls have just rushed out of that room the minute Sukayna appeared, and they're absolutely mobbing her. They're pulling her down onto the sofa, and now they've started a dance with her. They've pulled her up again, and they're all dancing round and round. Sukayna, who's in charge of this orphanage, is revelling in the attention. She's a short, plumpish woman in her mid-40s with a bright headscarf and big black painted eyebrows. She's a whirlwind of energy and passion, and she's on a mission to try to find all the children abandoned or lost in the chaos of IS's defeat and somehow reunite them with their families. That was a really, really nice dance that they did. So what do you think about Sukayna?
They adore her, they love her so much.
Why?
Because she first loved us and then we love her back.
This is Sukayna. Her full name is Sukayna Muhammad Younes, though somehow that seems a bit formal for her, trying to bring some order in the next room along the corridor. She's cuddling a child one moment, then she's telling another off, then she's getting one to wipe another's nose, and all the time jabbing the air to make some point or other. Sukayna herself doesn't actually work here. She's got a much bigger job as head of the Women and Children's Department of the Provincial Governorate. I'm Tim Whewell, and for assignment, I'm spending a week with her, seeing how she gets things done as a very rare public woman in an overwhelmingly male post-war world of officials and military officers in a city that's seen almost unimaginable horrors. There's one kid here, 11 months old, that Sukayna particularly wants me to meet. A very, very sweet-looking kid called Hamoudi. He's got big, big eyes and a lovely smile, only a few teeth. But the other thing that you can't help noticing straight away is that Hamoudi's only got one arm.
إذا نقول أبشع جريمة هم قليل بالوصف.
What happened to him was the worst crime that Daesh, the so-called Islamic State, committed against humanity, against a child. Hamoudi was used as bait, as a trap. He was just 3 months old, and they left him out in the street. So 3 of our soldiers approached to rescue him. And just as they were lifting him up, Daesh snipers opened fire and killed them all. Just then, this dog came along and dragged Hamoudi away by the arm. God knows if the dog wanted to eat him or to save him. But I think maybe that dog saved his life. Then a tank arrived with more soldiers and they took him to hospital. But his arm got gangrene from the dog bite. So they had to cut it off. That's why I believe that even the death penalty is too small a punishment for Daesh members.
But Sukayna doesn't just rescue children who are victims of Daesh or IS. She also rescues children from the other side, children of the enemy of IS families, Mosul's former elite, including children of the thousands of foreign fighters who came to join IS.
There are children whose father was a Daesh fighter and whose mother was a Yazidi captive, what they call a sabaya, a captive, a sex slave. Then there are abandoned children, children who were pulled out from under the rubble. There are children whose parents were both Daesh members. So, it's a real mixture. Every kid has his own story.
And what's really shocked me is that more children are still being found every day, 9 months after Mosul was officially liberated, including a little girl with very short hair. Actually, I thought she was a boy at first, whom Sukayna is really mystified about. Sukayna's called her Jannat. She looks really disorientated, as though she's not quite really with us. She's got brownish rather than black hair and browny-green eyes. And now Sukayna is looking at her teeth to try to guess her age. So you don't even know how old she is? More than 2 years? Yeah? But can she speak any language?
Some words of Arabic, but I still can't understand her. Jannat, Jannat, look, she can't say anything. She was found in Hammam al-Alil camp. Her hair was long, right down to here. But we had to cut it to stop her getting lice. No one knew who she was. No one. Maybe someone, just left her there, just abandoned her. We can only guess. Maybe her parents were foreign, not Iraqi. Just looking at her, I don't think she's Iraqi.
While IS was occupying Mosul, Sukayna worked with women and children in the huge displaced people's camps, like the one where Jannat has been found. Then, when the house-by-house, room-by-room battle to liberate the city reached its climax last summer, Sukayna says she was the first woman to return. Just think back to that day. What did Mosul look like then?
It was like a cave. It was dark. And just piles of stones, rubble, everywhere. Real devastation. There wasn't a building left standing. Well, the eastern part of the city wasn't that bad, but the west side was terrible.
We've just crossed the River Tigris on a very badly damaged bridge. And the scene here on the west side, which is the part of the city that IS held on to longest, is completely different. Here many of the buildings are just completely flattened, just heaps of wire and concrete. This, the old city, is where IS left Hammoudi out on the street as human bait. But today, Sukayna's taking me further down this road. We're going right through Mosul and on towards the Syrian border, to a town that's become a byword in northern Iraq for the kind of fanaticism and intolerance that she struggles against. It's the town she grew up in, Tal Afar, where Al-Qaeda was strong even before IS had ever been heard of. Sukayna's taking me to see her childhood home.
هو مقر بيتنا مقر كان مقر للقياديين.
The worst thing is they used this house, our house, as a base for their leaders here in Tal Afar, for Daesh members, for Daesh.
الدواعش.
Sukayna's walking around from room to room, and these are rooms where the windows are smashed, doors are broken down, and the floor's covered in rubbish.
هذا الدواعش كانوا يسوون بينه المفخخات هنا.
This is where Daesh used to make booby traps, bombs, here in the cellar.
Daesh probably took over this house because it's quite big. Sukayna's was a prominent family, but perhaps also because they wanted to destroy what her family stood for.
والدي من أغوات تل عفر وشيخ من شيخ تل عفر. فكان هذا
My father was one of the sheikhs, the elders of Tal Afar. And down here in the cellar basement, he used to settle disputes between all the local people, whether they were Shia or Christian, or Sunni or Yazidi. So I'm like a little Iraq. Because he was a Shia, my mother was Sunni, and my grandfather was Christian. My husband is Sunni and I'm Shia. We speak 3 languages, Kurdish, Arabic and Turkmen. So we are a little mixture of sects and religions. Alhamdulillah, I'm proud of that.
أحمل كل الأديان والحمد لله أنا فخورة إنه أنا من هذا العائلة.
But IS hated mixtures. She's picking up some of the old broken belongings on the floor. She's just wiped her cheek, I think, from a tear.
هاي غرفتي.
This used to be my room.
صعب كثير. إيش بس الحيطان كذا.
It's so hard.
صورنا.
There is only the walls left and memories of people, our photos. This is the house I grew up in, the house I was forced to leave. I can't really tell you in words how much it hurts. This, here, is where I used to sleep with my 3 sisters. What can I say? It's so hard. Here is the toy piano that my brother Tariq, my late brother Tariq, gave to my little son Hussein.
هذا البيانو.
What she's pointing out now, it's a keyboard, like a child's keyboard, really, and it's completely covered in dust, just lying broken on the floor there. 2 of her brothers, Tariq and Riyad, were journalists who worked to bring Shias and Sunnis together. Both were killed by Al-Qaeda, by the same extremists who later joined Daesh. Al-Qaeda also killed her sister Sabrine for being an English teacher. And now I'm helping the children of Daesh. Daesh that destroyed my whole life. I'm trying to give people hope and power, but I genuinely feel as though I'm torn apart inside. So weak. I try to look as though I'm strong, but actually I'm the one that needs help.
بدنا ننشر على هاي الطفلاية اللي لقوها بالحمام العليل حتى أشوف إذا أحد يتعرف عليها.
It's next day now, in Sukayna's office, in the governorate headquarters, and she's recovered enough to be hard at work. She's on Facebook, posting a picture of that mysterious green-eyed girl, Jannat. Some international agencies and charities don't like the way Sukayna works. They think that showing pictures of children could endanger them, but Sukayna thinks it's by far the best way to try and find relatives.
I've written anyone in this province who might know anything about this girl found in Hammam al-Alil camp called Jannat, 2.5 years old, should call this number.
Ah, she's so sweet.
You know, I've been warned not to post photos of me holding children like this. It will lead to threats because some of them are Daesh children. But I'm ready to take that risk. I want to show people that their children are safe with us. That's how we want to oppose Daesh. They killed our children, but we take care of theirs. That's my message.
How many people do you think oppose your work for the reason that you said?
People call me all the time and say, why do you care about Daesh kids? They are Daesh. Let them suffer in the orphanage. Let them suffer the way our kids suffered.
And Sukayna gets threats from the other side too, from remaining IS members or sympathisers.
There are still people, lots of people, who believe in that ideology. I get threats on the phone and on Facebook. They accuse me of being the government, against this, against that. And my day will come.
يعني مثل ما قتلنا غيرك
The way we killed others, they say, we will kill you.
Sukayna and I are climbing over what's now just a pile of rubble on top of a high mound in the centre of Mosul. It's all that's left of an ancient mosque that housed what was said to be the tomb of the prophet Jonah. IS dynamited it, blew it to bits. They said it had become a shrine for unbelievers.
They thought that underneath here, underneath this building, they would find a treasure, some massive treasure.
Sukayna's just clambering down now, down some very steep steps. And this is a tunnel inside the ruins, littered with rubble on the floor, very, very dusty. I can hardly see anything. As you can hear, actually, bits of the wall crumbling away as we move along. I'm having to stoop almost double here, actually. What can we see? And Sukayna's taking me to the... Oh, I see. That's amazing. So there's 3 carvings here on this chamber. They must be Babylonian or Assyrian. What are they kind of got? Strange kind of like flails.
Floor.
Floor?
Jannat, floor.
Oh, they're flowers.
Hey.
All 3 of these men are carrying bunches of flowers.
3 women.
Oh, they're women.
Women, yes.
Oh, I see. What I found out later is that the mound covers a palace built for the Assyrian king Sennacherib in the 7th century BC. What the reliefs really show is a demi-goddess sprinkling mortals with the water of life. But as we came out of the tunnel, I wasn't actually thinking about archaeology.
Yeah, we have to leave. This is coming, the situation is coming very bad now.
Okay, let's go.
Around us.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Well, we had to move quite fast away from there, actually, because a hostile crowd was forming. And then there was a report that someone had a knife. And in a town where there are still so many ISIS supporters or sympathisers, it didn't seem a good idea to stay around. Sukayna, though, as I might have guessed, is calmer and more philosophical.
We haven't really been liberated. Daesh was here such a long time, more than 3 years. That's a long time to spread their ideas, their publications. It's not easy. Now the region's liberated, inshallah, we will start rehabilitation programs, education, so people know Daesh is finished. We need to change people's thinking for the future.
Sukayna's back in the orphanage, back on Facebook. She's checking responses to her posting about Jannat. Is there anybody who's responded who thinks they recognise her?
No, there is not. This one says, for example, why are people in Hammam al-Alil, that's the camp, trying to hide, to protect these Daesh families? So that's one comment.
So basically they're quite hostile.
No, there are some sympathetic ones. Look, here is someone saying, Sister, we need a child, so if you can't find her real family, we will adopt her, according to Islamic rules.
For now, Sukayna is still hoping that Jannat's real family will come forward. But searching for relatives in Iraq now is a very complicated business. Sometimes people pretend to be related to an abandoned child so that they can employ them or enslave them. They force them, for example, to sell snacks or tissues at traffic lights in Mosul. I've seen lots of children doing that. As for real relatives, in Jannat's case at least, Sukayna doubts that she'll ever find anyone. If her parents were foreign IS members, then their family abroad are unlikely to ever see Sukayna's posts. And if her mother was Iraqi, she might have been a captive. And in that case, the family wouldn't want a child that was born of rape. Why did you choose the name Jannat?
I don't know. There weren't any other names left. We had run out of names. Jannat. Perhaps she will go to heaven.
Jannat means heaven, or alternatively, a garden.
She's so cute, so pretty. Farah, come here. Where is Farah? Daesh gave kids old names, names from the past. We gave them nice names, names people will like.
But Hamoudi, the toddler with one arm, is named after one of Sukayna's own sons. And holding him, you can see how she's caught between love and rage.
مثل هذا الطفل دمر حياته دمر مستقبل الطفل بيد واحدة.
This boy, Daesh destroyed his life and his future. A boy with one arm. What childhood does he have? Having to hold a bottle with one arm. This is killing humanity, killing childhood.
يعني هيك قلبي يوجعني من أشوفه.
Look at him. My heart breaks. It breaks when I see him. I've got no words to express. He's an orphan, without a father, without a mother, and without a hand.
لا أب لا أم لا إيد.
She's angry about the past. And she's angry too about the present, because there still aren't enough resources for orphanages like this. There's just one woman carer on duty right now in this room, trying to look after a dozen very boisterous, naughty toddlers. So good.
Just one. It's a crime. A crime. I swear to God, human life doesn't seem to matter to us.
Yeah.
احنا نحب التغيير، يعني نغير الوجوه اللي ما خدمت أهل الموصل. ما قدموا أي
We need change. To change the people in power who haven't really served the people of Mosul. They haven't supported them at all, not at all, even though they have suffered so much. That's why I want to be able to take decisions. If I could become a member of parliament, inshallah, or the provincial council, I could do simple, basic things for people. I could be their voice, fulfill their hopes.
حيث أنا أكون صوتهم لتحقيق أمنياتهم وطموحاتهم.
This is Sukayna's kitchen, and it's Saturday lunchtime. That's big lumps of meat boiling away there. You can see all the steam coming up and the bubbles. Even Sukayna tries to spend some time at home at weekends. But this isn't really home. It's just a rented house in Erbil. That's the capital of Iraqi Kurdistan, more than an hour's drive and several roadblocks away from Mosul. She and her husband Ali, he's a teacher, fled here when IS overran his hometown. They're here with 2 of their children, though their 4 others are with relatives in yet another town. You've got a whole layer of hard-boiled eggs that you've cut in half, and they've gone into the middle of this big bowl of rice that you're now putting a cloth over. Oh no, sorry, this is bread. What is this?
رقاق مع البقلاوة.
Pastry. It's kind of phyllo pastry, very thin pastry.
المقرمش يطلع هم أولادي.
And it's crispy. The children love it. They would happily eat it for days, just for the bread.
So it's layers of meat and eggs and rice, all wrapped in pastry.
Yes, we Iraqis call it parda plow.
Pasta plow.
Parda plow. It means rice behind the curtain being the pastry. How many women do you think in Iraq are there like you who try and combine all these different roles, like as a mother, as a wife, as a politician, as an official? How unusual are you?
Well, no one leaves their own children, their own family, to go and look after other people. Or if they do, I don't know them. Maybe I'm the only one.
Really? The only one in the whole of Iraq who combines so many different things.
Well, you know, I only see my children at 6 in the morning when I leave. And when I come back, it is 8:30 at night. To be honest, if I didn't believe in my work, if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be doing it. Ever since I was little, I've liked working, trying to do good. I love it. That's what makes me happy.
يعني من أنا صغيرة أحب العمل، أعشق فعل الخير، أعشقه صراحة، أفرح.
When other Iraqis look at you, particularly Iraqi men. What do they think?
They think I've failed as a woman. I mean, I live in a narrow-minded society. They think a woman's role is just to cook and clean and so on. I challenge that. I challenge the society and the way it talks about me.
And then, as she's holding a ladle in one hand and gesticulating, as she always does, with the other, there's a call. Sukayna is never really off duty, and there are thousands of missing children still to find.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah. Tell me over the phone. Do you have an internet connection?
Was that a call connected with work?
Yes, I advertised. The day before yesterday, we found another kid in a hospital. So I posted a picture on Facebook and local TV channel.
Assignment was presented by me, Tim Whewell, and produced by Mike Gallagher and Nick Sturdy. Sukayna Muhammad Younes was voiced in English by Alma Hassoun. For next week's assignment, I'm staying in Iraq and travelling to Russia to find out what's happened to hundreds of women and children, the families of foreign jihadis who vanished without trace after the defeat of IS. Join me next week as I try to solve that mystery.